Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make Mom's Super Laundry Sauce. This is what you'll need: 20 Mule Borax, Arm & Hammer Super Washing Soda, and Fels Naptha. You're also going to need a couple bowls, a couple of pots, a couple of measuring cups, a blender, 2 1-quart mason jars, a cheese grater, and a canning funnel. Okay, so we will get started. Okay, first you want to get the Fels Naptha, and you want to grate it. So, get one of your bowls, Fels Naptha, and your cheese grater, and I'm sure you know how to do this, just grate it. So you're going to grate the whole thing into the bowl. Okay, so this is how it will look when you're done. Just like cheese, all grated. It's even the same color. Then you're going to put this into the blender. And you're going to put it on grate. You can go between grate and grind, so between those two, until it's really, really fine. Okay, and this is how it should look when it's done. Nice and grinded up. Then, I'm just going to put this over here for now. You're going to get 1 cup of water. I'm sorry, 4 cups of water. Okay, so you're going to get your 4 cups of water, put it in the smaller saucepan. You're going to put that on high heat and get that to a nice rolling boil. And your other one, you're going to put your Fels Naptha and you're also going to put that on high. And get that nice and warm. What you can also do is you can bring this to a boil in a bigger pot, boil it until it's rolling boil, and then put the Fels Naptha in the boiling water and do it that way. But it takes like about 15 minutes, sometimes longer, and I think it takes a lot longer to do it that way. I have done it that way and it took me much longer, so I decided to do it this way, where you heat the Fels Naptha first and get it kind of somewhat melted, and then add the boiling water to it, and then it's much quicker. So in the meantime, we are going to get our washing soda. We're going to measure out 1 cup and put that into our bowl, and make sure that you are stirring this while you're doing other stuff. You don't want it to burn. It'll stink really, really bad. So, and then 1 cup of the borax as well. Okay, they look a lot alike, so you want to make sure you mix them together really, 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 really good. Just keep mixing them as much as you can to make sure they're all completely, or they both are completely incorporated. Like I said, in the meantime, make sure you're stirring this stuff too. And you're just waiting for this stuff to start boiling, the water to start boiling. You can see how it's starting to melt just a little bit. Back over here. And stir this really, really, really good. And then you'll just set it aside once you're done stirring it. So you can see this melting. It's getting very, very melted. You can turn it down to medium. It starts getting a little too hot. And this is starting to boil, so as soon as that's a rolling boil, then you're going to add it to the Fels Naptha. Okay, so when you add it, initially it creeps up pretty high because they're both really hot. But once it simmers down, then this is how it will look. So don't freak out when it does that and you add the boiling water to it. And you just continue stirring it, keeping the heat fairly high. Let's continue stirring it. Okay, so now it is completely dissolved. Just go to the edges and make sure there's no more left in there, because if there is, it's not going to turn out very good. So you want to make sure, and it means that you didn't get everything hot enough. So you're going to make sure there's no more chunks at all. Okay, and once there isn't, you're going to turn the heat off and you're going to add all of this that you just mixed. And you're going to stir it really, really good. And you're going to fill like a grit. Whoops. You're going to fill a grit at the bottom. Feel kind of gritty, and that's normal, but you want to make sure you don't feel that grit anymore by the time you're done stirring it. So you're probably going to want to stir a good 3 to 5 minutes depending on how long you hear that grit or feel that grit. You can kind of hear it a little bit. Just stir it really, really good. Like I said, you're going to do that about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so now this is where you're going to fill them up. You're going to fill them up evenly on both of the mason jars. So make sure you use your little funnel. You can get 2 funnels too if you'd like. Might be a little easier. Okay, so those look pretty even. Get them as even as you possibly can. If not, if they're a little off, you can always pour one into the other. And don't count the froth, only count this line down here, the yellow, dark yellow line. Now this one has more. There we go. Okay, once you're done, you're going to fill the rest up with just regular tap water up to right about where the elbow is. Okay, so it's going to be just like that, filled up with water. We're going to close the lids. And then you're going to turn these upside down. This is how they will look. Okay. You're going to let them sit there for 4 hours. You can do it overnight, but if you want to make sure it comes out right, then you probably don't want to do it overnight. I mean, it could work, it couldn't, I don't know. I haven't done it overnight, I've only done it 4 hours. So you let it sit here for 4 hours, and make sure that you only, you don't overfill it, because then you won't have this gap right here, and you need that gap, because by the time you blend it and everything at the end, you need that extra space because it all fills up. So, and plus you need it for it to give it some room to separate and everything. So there you have it. We'll wait about 4 hours and we'll come back and I'll show you what's next. Okay, so it's only been a few minutes and you can already see it starting to separate. This is exactly what it should start looking like. And at the end, it'll look similar to that as well. Okay, so here is 4 hours later. It's a little bit uneven, but that's okay, it'll be alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn them back over. What we'll do is open them, and then we will attach this to the top of that. Just like this. You can see the bottom, there's still an air pocket, so if that happens, it doesn't always happen, but sometimes it does. So if it does happen, you can stick a spoon or something in there to kind of get that air bubble out. You'll see it start to come up, and the water will go down. Okay, then you're going to put this on. Then you're going to put it on the blender. Make sure it's on there good. And you are going to put it on blend. You're going to blend it for 3 to 5 minutes. It may seem like it's not mixing, but give it some time and be patient, and it'll all start to incorporate and mix together. So just be patient. Make sure you do it at least 3 minutes. And if you see that any of it is still not mixed, just keep on going. I even go a little bit longer just to make sure. Now it should be done. Okay, so now we open it, and voila. Kind of has a consistency like mayo, like mayonnaise. It's real creamy. Comes out like that. You did it right. Now what I like to do is put this into a bigger container, so that way if my kids use it and they drop it, they don't bust the glass. Okay, so here's some that I already have in a tub, and I'm just going to mix the rest of this with it. Just pour it in there. Nice and creamy. Just mix it all up. And then I'll incorporate that one as well after I've mixed it with the mixer. And I just stir it all up so it's all mixed together. And then what I usually do is I get my, let me find it, a little teaspoon or tablespoon, and you use 1 tablespoon for every load of laundry. Even if it's a large load of laundry, if it's super soiled, then sometimes I'll put 2 or 1.5, or just kind of do like a heaping or a really big scoop. But all you need is 1 tablespoon, and apparently it's supposed to get out, you know, every stain known to man. All you got to do is put a little dab of this onto the stain, scrub it a little, let it sit, and then wash it, and with the regular load, and like I said, use 1 tablespoon and just slap it like right on top of all of your clothes. Even if you have a high efficiency washer, you can still use this. You just don't put it in the tray, you put it in actually on top of the clothes before you start it. You just get a dab, slap it on top, and run it as usual. You can use fabric softener in the dispenser only though. Don't mix it with this, because then it'll mess this whole thing up. So like I said, you know, you use 1 tablespoon and that's it. For whatever size load you have. You put your lid on, put that where you normally put your laundry detergent, and there you go. It comes out to about, so it comes out cost-wise to roughly about $1.76 for 128 loads. So 2 of these mason jars come out to 128 loads. I already had 1 mason jar in there, so mine obviously will be a little bit more. But when you do 2 of the 1 quart jars, it comes out to roughly about $1.76 for 128 loads. If you're using it with just the 1 tablespoon. So it's actually extremely affordable. It also takes out a ton of stains. I had cat urine on some of my blankets from my daughter's room, and I had to wash them twice, but the smell and the stains came out. Unlike when I used Tide, I had to soak them several times, wash them several times, and they still had the smell, and they still had stains on them. So this definitely works pretty good. So the total amount of laundry sauce that comes out is about 1/2 gallon, and it's a concentrate. So all this is a concentrate. And again, the recipe is one bar of Fels Naptha, the entire bar, 1 cup of 20 Mule Team Borax, 1 cup of Arm & Hammer washing soda. Make sure it's not baking soda; it has to be the washing soda, and 4 cups of hot water. And then just follow the directions as I put them in the video. You can pause and go back, or as much as you need to. And one more rule of thumb is don't try adding anything to it, like for smell wise. I mean, it smells good. It doesn't stink. It just smells like soap. But whatever you do, don't try to add any kind of fragrance or anything like that, because it'll just completely ruin the whole recipe. So just make sure you follow it exactly how you're supposed to. And like I said, if you want any, a stronger smell or something, your laundry to smell like whatever, then just use fabric softener in the dispenser only, though. Don't use it with the detergent. Use it in the dispenser only. If you don't have a dispenser, then I would just recommend using dryer sheets in the dryer. But like I said, this does smell decent. It doesn't smell bad. It just, like I said, smells fresh. It doesn't really smell like anything particular, just kind of soapy and fresh. The first time I did it, I used only this, no fabric softener, no fabric sheets. All I used was this, and it just smelled clean. It didn't really smell like soap. It didn't really smell like anything strong. It just smelled really fresh. So that's the only way I can explain it. And also a couple other things. If your detergent ends up being really grainy or too grainy, then you might want to put it back on the stove, heating it. This is before you set it and do all that stuff. Set it for 4 hours. And you're going to want to reheat it and try to meld it and incorporate everything a little bit more. Because if not, and it's still gritty and you use it, it'll still work. It's not like it's not going to work. It'll just be harder to dissolve. My very first batch that I did, it was like that. And I didn't incorporate it really good because, like I said, it was my first time. And you'll get better and better as you do it. But I noticed that it was sticking to the sides of my washer. And so I had to make sure the next time I made it, I followed everything precisely. And I made sure that the Fels Naptha melted really good. And it was completely melted before I added the other stuff, the other ingredients. Because if you don't, then it ends up, you can't get rid of the grit. So just make sure that you follow the directions very carefully, like I said, or it won't dissolve well. It'll still work good, it just won't dissolve really well. So, and if you have any other questions or any comments, concerns, go ahead and leave a comment for me in the bottom and in the comment section, and I'll try to answer any questions that you may have. All right, thanks, and enjoy your Mom's Super Laundry Sauce.